The rain fell in a slow, tired rhythm, each drop echoing in the narrow alley. Ishan walked fast, his footsteps splashing in the puddles. He kept glancing over his shoulder, a knot of dread tightening in his stomach. He heard another set of footsteps just behind his own. He spun around. Nothing, just the empty, wet darkness. He scrambled to his apartment, fumbling with the keys. The door swung open, and he slammed it shut, locking it once, then twice. His breath came in ragged gasps. He leaned against the door, whispering to himself, "It found me again." The lights in the room flickered once, then held steady. Ishan made his way to the bathroom, his heart still pounding. He splashed cold water on his face, trying to wash away the fear. He looked up into the mirror, just his own reflection, pale and wide-eyed. He reached for the switch and flicked the light off. In the dim reflection from the hallway, a faint shadow of a person stood behind him. His blood ran cold. He flipped the light back on. It was gone. He hesitated, then tried again. Light off the shadow was there, closer this time. He could almost feel its presence. "I don't know you," Ishan whispered, his voice trembling. "Leave me alone." The shadow in the mirror tilted its head, a slow, unnatural movement. Panic seized him. He ran to the living room and collapsed onto the couch, hugging himself, trying to make himself small. And then he heard it. 3 distinct knocks on the front door. Knock, knock, knock. Slow, deliberate. He rose, his legs feeling like lead, and crept toward the door. He peered through the peephole, but it was fogged up from the outside, as if someone had just breathed on it. He wiped it with his thumb. No one was there. The empty hallway stared back. As he stepped away from the door, a whisper slithered through the room, seeming to come from everywhere at once. "Why did you say my name?" Ishan froze. Every muscle tensed. I didn't say anything." He backed away, his eyes darting around the room. The shadow from the corner grew longer, stretching unnaturally across the wall, a distorted, menacing shape. He grabbed his phone, his fingers fumbling as he tried to call for help. The line didn't ring. There was only static. And then, underneath it, the faint sound of breathing. A distorted voice crackled through the speaker. "Say it again." Ishan dropped the phone, as if it had burned him. It clattered to the floor. He scrambled backward, pressing himself into the corner of the room. The paintings on the wall began to shift. The serene landscapes twisted, the colors bleeding into each other. The faces in the portraits slowly, impossibly, turned to look at him, their painted eyes filled with a silent accusation. He covered his ears and screamed, "Stop looking at me." In an instant, every painting crashed to the floor. Silence. The room went dim, plunging him into near darkness. Only a single lamp flickered in the corner, its light weak and stuttering. Ishan, drawn by the lone light, walked toward it. The lamp wasn't just flickering, it was blinking in a pattern, like a slow, deliberate eye. Behind the lampshade, the shadow stood, faint but solidifying. "Why are you following me?" Ishan whispered, his voice barely audible. The shadow finally answered, its voice a dry rustle of leaves. "Because you spoke my name." Ishon shook his head, desperate. "I don't know your name." The shadow moved closer, stepping out from behind the lamp. Its form was clearer, now unnaturally long limbs, a featureless head, pure darkness given shape. "You said it when you were a child." The words hit Ishon like a physical blow. His mind fractured. Images flashed behind his eyes. A dark childhood bedroom, the sound of a small boy crying, a whisper from the darkness under the bed. A tiny, forgotten voice saying a name, his own voice. Ishon say my name. Then, a crushing darkness. He screamed, a raw, terrified sound, and collapsed. Back in the present, he was on the floor, the shadow bending down beside him. "Say it again," it whispered. Ishon was shaking violently. "I don't remember. I don't remember." The shadow's voice was cold, devoid of all emotion. "But I do." The room grew colder. Frost began to spiderweb across the window panes. Ishon could see his own breath misting in the air. He had to get out. He crawled toward the door, his fingers trembling so badly he could barely work the locks. He finally managed to twist the deadbolt and swung the door open. The hallway was gone. In its place was a void, a pitch-black abyss that seemed to swallow all light and sound. A whisper echoed from deep within that darkness. "Come." The blackness moved like a thick fog, slow and alive, reaching for him. He slammed the door shut and ran blindly into the bedroom. The bed began to shake violently, the frame rattling against the floor. The closet door creaked open on its own. Inside, hanging from a hook, was a small, faded child's drawing. It was a picture of him as a boy, and beside him, a tall, black, scribbled figure. Underneath the drawing, in messy crayon handwriting, were the words, "You promised you wouldn't forget my name." He stumbled back, tears finally breaking free, streaming down his face. "Stop, please stop." The lights went out completely. Total darkness. And then the shadow was visible again, a deeper black against the black, standing over him. It knelt down, its presence an immense weight. "I will tell you my name," it whispered, the sound directly in his ear. Ishon shook uncontrollably. The shadow spoke again. "My name is what you fear." It placed a dark, cold hand on his head. His vision blurred, the room stretching and distorting around him. And then, silence. Everything disappeared. Ishon opened his eyes. He was sitting on a simple chair in a small, white, sterile room. There was a single door, a single unwavering light overhead. An old, tired voice spoke from behind him. "You called me again." Ishon turned his head slowly. The shadow sat in a chair across from him. It had a human shape now, but still no face. Just a smooth, dark surface. It spoke calmly, as if they were old acquaintances. "Now we start over." The world faded to black. A final, chilling whisper hung in the void. "Say my name."